Hey man, how you doing? Hope NAM was fun, and you're avoiding all the NAM thrax that goes along with it. Anyways, I just wanted to put a video together for you. I figured this would save a bunch of time and emails and everything else like that. So you see, I got one tape loaded on this manual with a key. I got three on that one, no keys. See, I've changed all these to LEDs. All these buttons now run on DC logic, and you go down through the manual openings, but I'll get to that in a second. So I wanted to show you what I wound up doing with the cycling mechanism. So what I wound up doing was I abandoned the switches. The switches were no good. They weren't accurate enough. So you'll see I have a 100mm fader that you'd usually find in I believe its initial function was a crossfader for a DJ mixer, and I tracked down the Bourne's part number and everything else like that. And I recycled a lot of the original switch mechanism. And what I did with this was I basically took off the original sweeper and I flipped it upside down and I trimmed off the back part of it here, and I basically sandwiched the you can see the shaft of the fader coming through right there, and two pieces of Duralock or dual lock, however you want to refer to it. Elevated it to the perfect amount, and it's pretty great. So I'm setting a logic voltage to that from the microcontroller. Reads a digital position anywhere from 0 to 1024. And this button right here on the side, I'll get into in a second, and that'll basically put the thing into tape load mode, which I'll show you how that works. I made a few modifications to the setup itself. So the main two things that I did to the chain, which we all know skips quite a bit, I guess it would be three things, is number one, I dropped this part of it down a quarter of an inch. I used some of the standoffs that were underneath the original wire switch mechanism. And what that did was it actually increased the brake angle on the gear wheels, and it gave us one more tooth to bite onto. Also, what I did was I removed 4 links of this chain to tighten it up a little bit. As you can see, I got a lot of, it's nice and tight now. And make sure that the chain is oriented where the loop closings on each link are facing up towards you. And then they won't slip off, because I noticed they had a tendency to slip off. So that's that with this part. So this gets a voltage from the microcontroller. As it slides back and forth, it reports its position within 1024 increments, wherever it is. And you'll see down here I have just a couple terminal strips, the 2 Arduino microcontrollers. I have solid state relays for the motor power and regular mechanical relays for the direction. So I've narrowed down the drive motors to just the caps and the motor plate and a screw terminal. So going around the front, on the right manual, I'm going to go right here up to station 4, and I'm going to show you what it does. So now it's going to start inching, and it inches it right into place. And now I'm just showing off with this part. So it'll display, both microcontrollers on a little screen if you want them to. And then when we go down, I also built in some overrun protection. I'm trying to see if I can give you an example. No, that one didn't overrun. So basically what it'll do is, if it's cycling, then it starts inching, and we can control the increment at which it inches. And it overshoots its destination, it'll automatically flip direction and go back and inch the other way, so it goes back into place. And then you'll notice the LED on the front will do a similar function that the AC lamp does, but it starts blinking when it goes into inch mode, letting you know that it's getting ready, and off you go. So I got both sides working now. I think I just hooked this one up. You see I don't have the tape load button hooked up. Yep, there we go. So there was an overshoot, so it overshot it, flipped directions, and it went back. And then it'll show you the correct station on either side of it. So that's where I am with this, and it's working really well. Oh, the tape load. So basically, when you hold this button down, when you initially load the tapes, what this will do, let me see if I can go up to here and show you. When you hit this button, it will show you, it will report the position of this. Okay? So that way you know exactly where your station resides on the sweeper over here as you're going through the tapes and setting it up initially. And then when you do that, ooh, that was a close one. I'm glad you got to see that. Inside of the code, we can set the locations for those sounds, per hitting that button, so you know exactly where your stations are set. And then it'll start inching in accordance to, plus or minus 20 increments of whatever number you have set in there. So that way we don't, it doesn't fly into the position, and it'll slowly, move it into space. And then when we do that, it should automatically there we go. So that's where I'm at. It does play. This one note does play. I don't have the amplifier on because I don't have a preamp put together for it yet, but I will soon enough. I have all the parts for it. And the chassis is over there, a nice aluminum box I got for it, and I'm building a valve preamp for this, so that way it's going to be nice and rich with reverb and that whole thing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I figured I'd just take a video and send it to you. That would be a little bit easier than trying to explain all this over email. And you got any questions or anything else like that, just let me know. And if you definitely wanted to be privy to this stuff, that would be fantastic. I would love to be able to help restore these things as they're going along. So hope you're well. Talk to you soon.